Good.
They started screaming at each other. You come into my establishment, you insult my employees.
Yeah, tell him. Tell him. Oh yeah. Tell him.
Take you out back and rip your damn wig out of the corner of
For the next 4 minutes, the woman with the red hair threw everything she could get her hands on over the counter.
What? What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the channel. It's TG Sensei, and today I'm proud to say that we're gonna be reacting to 3 true McDonald's horror stories animated. Now, this was made by Horror Shorts Party, so go subscribe to them right now. Up, down, up, down. Okay. Or I'll feed you pie. But anyway, though, let's get straight into it and see what these stories are about. They better not be true. I'll never go to McDonald's again. Matter of fact, since we talk about McDonald's, I got a video on the way talking about McDonald's specifically. And it's not even about their food. It's about something that they never addressed. Ever. But anyway, let's get straight into the video. Alright. Following the okay. Pause it right there. Why does this girl look like the Wendy's logo? Like, just look at her. What is this? Oh my God. Already arguing.
Working at McDonald's has ruined my life. I thought it would just be a way to save money for the future while I studied at my local college, but it turned out to be the thing that ripped my future from my grasp.
So is McDonald's,
It all
you know?
started in the summertime. I was working the drive-through window, which is as mundane of a routine as anything else you can do at McDonald's. All the orders were passing through my hands and into car windows in one monotonous blur, just like any other day. But despite the sheer number of people that passed by me during that shift, there was one individual who stuck out. The driver of the vehicle she was in was nothing special, just her whipped boyfriend. But her, I remember her.
What you
She
mean?
had this awful helmet-looking wig of ketchup red hair, which just did not go with the rest of her style whatsoever.
Hey,
I tried not to stare.
so
I looked up to the screen where the orders came through to see what they got.
First of all, what is this dude doing? Like, what? The dude that's driving, what you got going on? Are you this down bad? Are you this down bad? Is it getting that serious that you have to get that creature? That I don't even know what to call. I don't even know what to call that. We got to do experiments on that, because ain't no way that's a human. Anyway.
Boyfriend got a Big Mac meal with a large Sprite, and she got a 10-piece McNugget meal with a large high C. That may not seem relevant, but I only say this because I know for a fact that I did everything within my responsibility to make sure they got what they were supposed to. I handed over the drinks first. Then I held out the bag of food. I expected her boyfriend in the driver's seat to grab it, but instead, she reached over and snatched it out of my hands.
Okay,
giving me this dirty,
alright,
ravenous look as
you
she
can drive off there,
I
shoot.
see some weird things in the
I ain't gotta see
drive-thru,
you.
so that barely registered anyway. Have a nice day. They sped off out of the drive-thru, and I thought I'd never see them again. I was wrong. The woman with the ridiculously red hair walked inside not a minute later. I saw her as I was grabbing a McFlurry cup from the front. She was standing with her hands at her hips, impatiently waiting to speak to a manager in a very evident manner. By the time I'd made the McFlurry, the manager was with her. I wasn't really paying attention, but I could see she was being nasty for no good reason. I don't know what kind of day the manager was having, but he wasn't having any of this woman's attitude.
Good.
They started screaming at each other. You come into my establishment, you insult my employees.
Yeah, tell him. Tell him. Oh yeah. Tell him.
Take you out back and rip your damn wig out of the corner of my eye. I saw her spit in the manager's eye, to which he slapped her in the face. He immediately regretted throwing hands and disappeared from the counter to go hide in his office.
Hey.
That's when the crazy woman went berserk.
Shoot.
She started hollering at the top of her lungs, pushing stuff off the counter and throwing random objects into the kitchen. She threw over a cup of straws, spilling them all over the floor.
What, y'all think I'm stupid?
Yes.
Think I can't count?
Uh-huh.
I got a 10-piece.
What's 9 plus 10? 21.
Rip off one of your fingers and see how you feel about it.
What?
She was making an awful scene.
What?
At that point, I couldn't help but look. Several of my co-workers went to the counter to try and calm her down or get her out of the restaurant, but she was inconsolable. She pulled on one of those plexiglass barriers that hangs in front of the cash register and hurled it towards somebody.
Oh!
It nearly stabbed their eye out. Still, the corner of the plexiglass sliced them in the temple, spurting blood all down their shirt.
Let me see that witch that gave me my food. Come on.
What?
She needs a good beating.
I realized she was talking about me, and that's when she jumped the counter. She locked eyes with me at the window and lunged, but she was caught by a small crowd of employees who got a hold of her and threw her out the door.
Oh, yeah.
But she came back. Several times she came back, actually.
I need to call the
Every time I
cops.
thought she was gone, she would storm back in and throw something else at the people in the kitchen.
Why are y'all not calling the cops?
Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the
Why are y'all
manager
not
came
calling
out
the
and
cops,
yelled at
bro?
her. The cops are on their way.
Thank you.
You really want to throw your life away over one chicken nugget? At that, she disappeared. The cops showed up about an hour later, asked a few questions, and took a copy of the security footage. I thought she would eventually get fined a few grand or spend a few nights in jail, but we never got word that she'd been caught. 3 or 4 months passed, the season changed, and I pretty much forgot about the whole thing. Pretty much everyone moved on, even the cops. Then, one day, I was working the drive-thru again, and I saw her.
Oh my
She came
God.
back with her boyfriend and ordered the exact same thing. My heart sank to the floor when she came up to the window. I recognized her immediately. She still wore that same awful red wig, but this time she was even...
I bet she ain't took off that thing ever since, man, because ain't no way you still got on that same wig, same grin, probably the same clothes, probably ain't washed in like, what, 4 months? Shoot, you still holding on a grudge over a chicken nugget? A chicken nugget? You said... Why? Why? Just why? It's not even that serious. Look at her. She's just. Why is she grinning? Like there's nothing that. You're just starting problems. Just start problems. See, what do we even call people like this? I don't know. What do we call them? Petty? Is petty the word? I don't even know, bro. Because this is just actually
more insane looking. She stared me down with this creepy, deranged smile, like some kind of psycho would look at their next victim. But she didn't say anything. She just took her food and drove off slowly, looking at me through the window until they were out of sight. I thought about calling the cops, but I figured she would leave once she counted all 10 of her nuggets. It gave me a jolt, forcing me to remember her little rampage back in August, but after a while I wasn't thinking about it. Several hours passed and the sun went down. Then I was done with my shift. Right before I walked out the door, I remembered that I'd seen her that day. Just as a precaution, I got out my keychain and clutched the little pink bottle of pepper spray. I'd had this thing since I was a sophomore in high school.
Keep it on you,
about
man.
6 years, so I was sure it was expired, but I figured it would be good enough. I pushed open the door and walked out with long, quick strides headed for my car. Within seconds, I heard her walking behind me, racing to catch up with me. Coming up so quickly,
Hey, bro, you better-
I was sure she was about to attack. Instinctively, I turned around and sprayed her straight in the eyes. Without bothering to linger for any reason, I turned back and ran to my car.
Oh, yeah.
As I fumbled with my keys looking for the unlock button, I looked back to the woman with the insanely colored hair. She was still standing, but she was staggering. I saw her wipe her eyes vigorously and spit on the ground. Then she looked straight at me. Her eyes were bloodshot, all the skin around them swollen and red and covered in thick tears. She bared her teeth like a rabid animal. Drooling. She screamed horridly. then charged at me unhindered. I pulled
What's
open
your
the car
problem,
door and
lady?
jumped
God
inside,
dang.
locking it behind me.
Oh my.
I thought I was safe, but before...
Okay. So you telling me you had this hair this whole time, and you ain't out here trying to look like a model? That's what you're trying to tell me? You telling me that you're not a model? This man got that looking hair, bro. I'm so serious. There's no way this man hasn't been in the modeling business at least once. You know what I'm saying? At least once or twice.
even calm my nerves enough to start my car, I saw a rock bashing into the window,
Oh.
smashing it like a wine glass. I shrieked, and then her hands came through the window. They grabbed me by the hair and yanked me through the door, all over the shards of
she messing up
glass
your
and
hair
dropping
too?
me on the pavement while
Yeah,
still
it's over
grasping at my scalp. She struck me in the face repeatedly, using her nails like claws, cutting my face and eyes, splitting my lip and scarring my cheeks.
This will teach you to disrespect me, you little punk. You gon' remember me.
I don't know how long I was taking that
my
for.
God.
I didn't fight back. I just clutched my car keys so she wouldn't steal it. Eventually, I heard my manager come out and start yelling. That's when the crazy woman dropped me to the ground and ran off, disappearing once again.
Bro,
And what's worse, the police still haven't found her. They don't care enough about me to go looking, I guess. But she ruined my life. I quit my job after that day, and I moved back into my parents' house. I even missed my college graduation because my face was so messed up. I'm too scared to go outside. I'm just worried that I'm going to run into her, and she'll recognize me all over again.
The customer begins to argue with a worker over her order. There is no audio, but witnesses told police that the customer became verbally abusive toward the staff.
Oh my gosh.
That's when the situation turned violent. The customer tried to get behind the counter and had to be pushed back out the door by other workers. When she couldn't get behind the counter, she started throwing things. For the next 4 minutes, the woman with the red hair threw everything she could get her hands on over the counter.
Oh my God, that's
Wet
what this
floor
is based
signs,
on?
a trash
That is
can,
crazy.
plastic order numbers,
Just throwing
another
everything.
wet floor sign. Before leaving the restaurant, she grabs a big promotional sign and heaves it over the counter.
Oh.
Then she
she
finally
didn't.
walks
Oh.
out.
God, dog. Note to self: don't ever trust nobody with red hair. I'm sorry. All red hair. I mean, like little strands of red hair and then mostly black. That's, you watch out. But all red hair, don't ever trust somebody with all red hair. Trouble, 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 nothing but trouble. Just no. Don't ever do that. No. Never. Because there's no way y'all let this woman do all that. Like, y'all telling me y'all couldn't have just jumped her or just pinned her down or something like that? All them workers, and y'all still let that woman, that one woman, do all of that. That's crazy.
Oh my!
Around the early 2000s, there was a high clown epidemic, where multiple reports of people being chased by clowns was at an all-time high. Most were classified as pranks, but regardless of their intentions, it was downright terrifying. The next story was inspired by some footage of a Ronald McDonald terrorizing someone at McDonald's. Here's what it looked like.
Oh my!
No.
Have you ever wondered why they say, "Would you like fries with that?" After every meal you purchase, the offer seemingly comes up despite you already ordering. I know why, and I'll tell you, but I need to give a disclaimer that this story isn't for the faint-hearted. This allegedly happened to a friend of mine. We'll call him John,
Oh my.
and we'll call his roommate Brad. The fall semester was in full effect, and the pair had both studied at the same
Brad.
campus nearby their student housing.
Okay.
It was alleged that John moved in with Brad as he was originally from out of town and needed a place to stay for the following curriculum. Brad was known to not be the most pleasant individual to study around due to his constant guitar rehearsals for his rock band. This would cause John to always opt to study at a nearby McDonald's. It was usually the go-to place for students, as this particular franchise was a 24-hour establishment. The McDonald's was never packed, at least not during the night shifts, so finding a place to sit wasn't so bad. You would occasionally find a loiterer or two, and were guaranteed to find this one female bookworm who would literally show up every night. John would always purchase a meal before study, giving him a plausible excuse to dine without feeling like he was loitering. Hello, sir. Welcome to McDonald's. How may I take your order?
That dude's
Just a Big Mac and a small Coke, please. All right, sir. And would you like fries with that? No, thank you. Are you sure, sir? It's almost 3 a.m. Okay, so what? All right, sir. That'll be $8.19 after taxes. And how will you be paying? Card, man.
Monopoly
John
money.
taps his card on the machine and awaits his food as the odd behavior from the cashier left him feeling uneasy. Nonetheless, John grabs his tray of food and sits down to begin his long chore of studying. About 10 minutes before 3 a.m., the female bookworm slides by John's table with a frantic look on her face and says,
It's almost time. You should probably pick up your fries now.
"What the hell are you talking about, lady?"
Dude, hurry up. We don't have much time.
The female proceeds to head towards the front counter while John sat there dumbfounded. John then gets up from his seat and follows the girl's lead by ordering a large fry after her. As the pair head to their respective tables with their fries, John approaches the female and begins to interrogate her by saying, "I got the fries, now what?"
I recommend just sitting down with your fries. It's literally going to be 3 a.m. any second now.
"What the hell are you talking about, lady?"
You don't know about him? The clown?
"Who?"
Duh. Ronald McDonald. Haven't you gotten the hint why they always ask if you want fries with that?
No. Why?
I recommend you always have fries on hand.
Fries are your protection,
or else
huh?
it'll turn you into a McFlurry.
Oh.
And what do we have on today's menu?
Oh my god. What? What?
Hello, young lads. Such a fine couple you are. Care to share some delectable fries? Pretty please?
Oh my god.
Okay.
Sure, sir.
Oh.
Good.
Oh no. Fries cannot be that good.
You all next time.
I'm never going to McDonald's
Make
again.
sure to have fries with your Big Macs and Happy Meals. And that's when he departed the building. The more John...
Hey man. Hey man.
everyday thing.
Oh my
Well,
god.
a 3 a.m. thing to be exact.
Why would you go
The
there
so-called
again?
Ronald McDonald would torment the customers and employees for fries, as if
Oh
they
my
were in
God.
debt to him for something. Nobody really bothered to do a damn thing about it and just went along with the whole facade. John, on the other hand, wasn't so pleased with the idea of being taxed to sit at McDonald's
That's
in exchange
crazy.
for his fries.
The McDonald's tax.
But there was nothing he could really do about it. John had spread the word about the clown, but no one really believed him, especially his loud roommate Brad. One night, John decided to bring Brad to the McDonald's and prove that what he was saying was in fact
Bro,
legit.
why are you
Brad
coming
didn't
back?
believe him and
Bro,
scoffed at the whole ordeal.
You
as if the clown was some fake phony urban legend or some weirdo hustling food from regular customers. The time was 10 minutes
why
shy
would you
before
return
3,
there?
and
Why?
that's when everyone excluding Brad went to the front counter to pick up an order of fries. What makes this story more disturbing was how Brad carried himself. He had the same stubborn attitude and remained seated at the table despite John's multiple warnings. When 3 a.m. came around, the clown entered the McDonald's and immediately approached the bookworm's table first.
Oh.
Smells like this batch was fresh off the fryer.
Oh my god.
The clown then approaches John and Brad's table as they looked at the clown with their jaws hanging to the ground. Ooh, look what we have here! That's when John saw Brad holding a handful of fries with his bare hands, and John's fry container completely empty without an ounce of potato in it.
I recommend you always have fries on hand, or else he'll turn you into a McFlurry.
Nah.
No! Ah!
Oh. Oh my god. Bro, I told you not to come back there, bro. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my goodness, bro. Hey, bro.
I have been in television for 24 years.
What am I even
I'm just gonna
watching?
get something to eat.
And I have very seldom been at a loss for words.
Sir, I just came to
But
get
I
something to
don't
eat.
even know what to ask you first.
When I was a kid, I didn't have much money. My mom raised me by herself while she worked 2 jobs, so I spent a lot of time alone in our apartment. I had to fend for myself as far as making food and finding things to do. For food, I frequented the closest and cheapest thing there was, the McDonald's around the corner. It was easy, and I only needed a handful of quarters to get a meal, which was all I had. As for my entertainment, one thing I did have was my mom's old desktop computer with a CRT monitor. It was already old by those days' standards, and this was before we had smartphones. Despite that, to me, access to the internet was an absolute luxury. The big thing on the internet back then was chat rooms. Stuff like Facebook and Instagram didn't exist yet, so just about the only way to talk to people besides email was a chat room. There wasn't much to it, just some basic information like their name and age. And most of the time the chat rooms were community-based, so you'd be talking to people that lived somewhere in your city. I thought it was a pretty neat way to potentially meet people in the real world, though it did end up having some problems. There was one guy I remember meeting very clearly. He was really cool to talk to online. His name in the chat room was John, and he was around my age. We traded messages almost every day for a few weeks, and we even played the original Counter-Strike together. Then one day he said he wanted to meet up and get something to eat. I had nothing better to do, as usual, so I agreed. But I had to ask if he lived close by. I didn't have a car or a bike, and I couldn't really afford to take the bus. I was a slight bit cautious, so I didn't tell him my home address. I just asked if he could meet me at the McDonald's by the big intersection near my place. He said that was no problem, so we agreed to meet there at 6 o'clock.
Don't do it, man.
I have to admit I was pretty excited.
I'm tell y'all right now, don't try to meet up with anybody online. I don't care how trustworthy you think they are. Do not try to do it. Nope. You don't know this person for real. You've only chatted with them, messaged them. No. This person is trouble. You know what I'm saying? Do not try to meet up with people you meet online. Just random strangers. No. Don't ever do it.
I never met any of the people I talked to on the internet before. And to be honest, I didn't really have many friends, even at school. I had high hopes to hang out with this guy more regularly, even before I'd seen him for the first time. I raided my mom's coin jar for some quarters, just enough to get a Happy Meal as usual. Then I walked out into the street around 5 minutes before we were set to meet. I got to the McDonald's at 6 but didn't see him. I kept an eye out for the green jacket John said he'd be wearing as I took a seat in the dining room. The McDonald's employees recognized me as I was there almost every day. I decided to wait for John to get there before I ordered, knowing I wouldn't be bothered by the workers. After a few minutes, I started to get a little anxious. I didn't have a cell phone as they weren't very common back then. I was just sitting there in silence, looking around the dining room. That's when I saw a strange-looking man wearing a trench coat standing by the window, staring at me.
The best things in life never change. They just get better, like Hardee's original bag.
The moment I made eye contact with him, he began shuffling towards me, until he was standing right next to my table. The table was about waist height on him, and he held a Happy Meal box right over the edge.
Heck
You
nah.
look hungry, little boy.
Oh,
Would
no.
you like something from my Happy Meal?
This is...
No, I'm good, thanks. I'm just waiting for someone. Oh, are you waiting for John? He's my son. Without asking, the man sat down right next to me in the booth, when there was a perfectly good seat right across from me. He shifted the Happy Meal box and set it in his lap, even though the table was right there. He leaned in and mumbled in my ear, like he was about to say some kind of secret. He called me and said he was about to ride his bike to meet somebody here. I know this isn't the greatest part of town, so I thought I should drive over to make sure everything was safe. But I figured he'd be here by now. Oh, I hope he's okay. But while we're waiting, you should eat something. I bought this Happy Meal for the two of you. Come on, don't be shy.
This is horrible.
I really didn't know how to feel
I
about
can't,
the guy.
bro. Like,
I
what
was
is
pretty
this?
young at the time now
Oh
that I
my
think about
gosh.
it. I guess I didn't really have a proper sense of people's intentions. On the one hand, he was really invading my personal space. But on the other hand, his story made sense to me. I mean, how else would he have known the name of the person I was waiting to meet? What made me give him the benefit of the doubt, though, was the growling in my stomach. I knew I could have paid for my own meal, but I didn't think there was anything wrong with getting a little free food. Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's it. Just reach in there and grab something at random. Be fair to John. He opened up the box as it was still in his lap, but wouldn't let me look inside. Desperate for some food, I reached in, but as far as I could tell, there wasn't any food at all in there. I grabbed onto the only thing that was in there, but it definitely wasn't anything that was supposed to be in a Happy Meal. It felt weird, almost clammy, and it wouldn't come out of the box when I tried to retrieve it.
Huh?
Is everything okay over here?
Neither of us heard her walking up to us. We both jumped a little bit. I took my hand out of the box and the man very frantically closed it up. The employee stood sternly with her hands on her hips. Yeah, we're all good here. I'm just enjoying some quality time with my son. I barely had any idea what was going on, but I didn't want to cause any problems with the McDonald's I ate at almost every day, or the man who said he was my friend's dad. You see out there? My other son is on the other side of that window. You see him there?
You lying waste of space. Get out of here, I'm calling the cops.
Oh
Right then, the
my
man threw the Happy Meal box to the
God.
side and ran out the door. The woman who must have recognized me, I'm assuming the manager, didn't let me leave. She asked for my mom's phone number and called her. It felt like I was in trouble for something, but I didn't know what it was. The woman told me to wait until my mother came to pick me up. So, I waited. And in that time, John never showed up. And I eventually realized that he never existed in the first place. But the weirdest part of all is, when I picked up the box the man had left behind, irrationally hoping for some food, I realized it was more than just
Oh!
There was a hole cut out about 2 inches wide. I had no idea why anyone would do that at the time, but I eventually connected the dots.
No.
My mom came a couple hours later and took me home. We didn't talk much about what had happened, but a few months later, I figured it out. We were watching the show where they would catch predators, and on that night, the face of the man they caught was one I recognized. It was the man in the trench coat, and where else had they caught him but another neighborhood McDonald's?
I have been in television for 24 years.
I just came to get something to eat.
And I have
No, he didn't.
very seldom been at a loss for words.
Sir, I just came to
But
get
I
something to
don't
eat.
even know what to ask you first.
I just came to get something to eat.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
We've been through this before. What are you doing? I've got the chat log again.
Oh. John, what are you doing? Oh my God. And no, bro. Oh my God. Man, where do I even start? I don't got no words. To be honest, I don't have any words because there is no way. So, this dude was just ignoring all the possible signs that this man was trouble. And then it took him, what, maybe 2 months to realize what was going on? Are you serious? You know what, bro? I'm so done, bro. Ain't no way. Anyway, y'all, that's the end of the video. If you like the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, or I'll feed you pie. And I'll see you in the next one.